Terence Bud Crawford says he's not really chasing Canelo. Payday, you'll want payday. I know that. But I don't know about that. In this video, I'll give you guys my thoughts. In a brand new interview, Terence Crawford said, I wouldn't say I'm chasing Canelo. I think that's a broad statement. I just want the opportunity to fight the best fighter in my generation that's out there. He's the most accomplished fighter in today's sport of boxing, other than myself. I just like to fight another great. That's it. That's all. If the fight happens, I think it would be the biggest fight in the sport of boxing regarding a showdown with Canelo Alvarez. Now, I am not one to hold back and mince my words. I do not like this fight. Yes, if they do end up fighting because the business permits or something and there's a deal on the table, I will watch it. So we're loud and clear. I don't like the fight, meaning it doesn't do anything for me. I think there's far better fights to be made. Crawford is saying it's the biggest fight. I don't think it's the biggest fight. I think if you put Canelo versus David Benavidez, that would be bigger. If you did a fight with Gervonta Davis and, one of these guys that people want to see him fight, that people keep saying, oh, Gervonta needs to fight this guy and this guy. Those fights would be big. And that's the reality of it. Crawford is a great, excellent fighter, skilled fighter. He's, earned his keep. But at the same time, he hasn't necessarily been bankable outside of Nebraska. Like, look at Crawford Madrimov was a flop. You look at all the star power and all the, Eminem concert. Hey, yo, you might see me jogging. You might see me walking. You might see me walking a dead Rottweiler dog with his head chopped off in the park with a spiked collar hollering at him because the son of a won't quit barking. Or leaning out the window with a cocked shotgun, driving up the block in the car that they shot pocketing, looking for Biggs killers, dressing ridiculous. You had Eminem, bro. You had Marshall Mathers, Slim Shady himself, and the fight flopped. And you had to probably pay Eminem a crazy bag. You had all these names on the card. And guess what? Look at Riyadh Season. Their next fight, the February 22nd card, is in Saudi Arabia because the powers that be, the people pulling the purse strings, they're determined they need to start reeling this in and pulling it back to what it's supposed to be. Riyadh Season was supposed to enhance tourism and make people want to come to that region, right? Come to the kingdom. And that's what happened. But here's business. If you know anything about business, if something is massively successful, then why would people change the formula? You know how they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. For example, the Fast and the Furious movies. Why people are like, why do they keep making new ones? Because people are going out to see them. And until that stops, that's the case. Just like Harry Potter or any of the Lord of the Rings, the reason why they kept doing sequels and spin-off, they're doing a new Lord of the Rings Hobbit spin-off, right? And the reason they do that is because they're financially viable and making sense. There's a ROI there. So anything where there's a ROI, people are going to generally keep doing it unless it's something illegal. But we're not talking about illegal activities. We're talking about making clean, fair money. So Crawford, yeah, he hasn't been the biggest star. Bob Arum told you. And it is so funny to me because Bob Arum told you he loses money on every Crawford fight, right? Not my words. Don't get mad at me. This is what Bob said. Terence Crawford, he's a terrific fighter. But every time he fights, I'm losing money. Me and my wife, we could have bought a villa with the amount, you know what I mean? He's telling you this every single time he had a chance to talk Crawford. He was spilling the beans. And it's funny that Turkey, he has a love fest for Crawford or whatnot. So he was like, oh, I'm going to give you the best fights. And I wish I would have got to your career sooner, but you didn't. You came in the game when you came in, and it is what it is. So it's funny to see people It's like Eminem said in 8 Mile, ain't you listen to the last round, meathead? Pay attention. You're saying the same that he said. People in boxing do the same moves, the same exact move somebody else did. Like, really, everything Turkey is doing is what DAZN did when they first came in. They had Len Blavnik, who is a billionaire, got mega money, and he was just throwing away money, trying to impress and, get his company footing in the ground. And they were losing money in order to do that. And then now it's a new, it's just a new host. It's a new sugar daddy in terms of Turkey, who is breaking bread and putting on the event and losing money. Like, better be of Bevo. They are good fighters, very good fighters. However, as good of a fight as that is for undisputed and everything, right? I've told you this. Belts do not matter in 2024, and I can prove it. You look at Tank fought Ryan Garcia for no belt. None. There was no belt. No belt. The fight was at a catchweight, so it couldn't be a belt because it wasn't even in a standard weight class. It wasn't optimized for that. But guess what? The business made so much sense that nobody cared. Nobody cared. People, they identify with Gervonta Davis. They know he's a knockout artist. They know Ryan had been knocking Ish out, and they know Ryan from the videos and the social media following. So guess what? People paid attention and people went out and bought the fight. Period. Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. The fight was seen by, they kept changing the number, but 70 million plus, 100 million plus on Netflix. Yeah, that wasn't a pay-per-view, but if they really wanted to swing it and did a Netflix pay-per-view, you would have to believe that some of those would have translated to pay-per-view sales. I'm not saying it was a good fight, but people were curious about the fight, right? So these are examples of boxing, and it's attracting a lot of eyeballs with no belt even attached to it. So yes, February 22nd is a good card, but it's not like this crazy star power. People in America don't know Daniel Dubois. And then again, you got a great undisputed fight. However, it's all the way in Saudi. So they're not even trying to cater to America by like doing it at a time where it would show up on prime time. For example, ESPN had Pacquiao versus Jeff Horn in Australia, and they aired it at a time that was probably a little bit more inconvenient for Australians because they're a day ahead, but it came on prime time in the States because I remember watching it in the evening, and I live in the West Coast. I live in California, right? They're not even attempting to do that. So it's not even just that the fight is in Saudi Arabia. It's in the Saudi Arabia with their time code and time zone. So the fights are coming on very soon. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with Crawford and Canelo. I don't really need to see that. Again, they make it, then well played. But I'm not a fan of like the weight class jumping. And it's people say Canelo is ducking Benavidez and stuff, but then they also like talk at the other side of their mouth and want to see a fight like Crawford. So if you truly believe that Benavidez is being ducked by Canelo, then why are you advocating for Canelo to fight yet another small person? And that's what's fake with a lot of content creators. They are not consistent. Your boy Ego is always consistent. Did I want Amir Khan to move up to fight Canelo? No. The videos are still up. Type it in. I made videos talking about how that was a dumb idea for Amir Khan, who he didn't flesh out 147, and then he's moving to 155 Canelo weight to fight him. I said it was dumb when Kell Brook moved up to fight Triple G. I said it was dumb in all these situations, Jermell Charlo versus Canelo, and every single time your boy Ego was right. Every time. So people, they won't be happy until they see. But again, there's a lot of low quality content, and you got content creators who are so biased, they don't even realize it, and they're very inconsistent. When Canelo's pulling up smaller guys like Jermell Charlo and Jose Cito Lopez and guys like that, right? people call it out and say, oh, look at Canelo. Why is he fighting? Munguia just got to 68. Why is he fighting Jose Cito Lopez, bringing him up in weight? Da-da-da-da-da. But now, because they think Crawford has a shot with Canelo, they want him to get the fight. Again, for me, I'm going to just keep it consistent. It's not my favorite.